Yeah, how are you going to get out of this situation?
Yeah,
huh?
buddy, you are stuck. Folks,
Well-
if you're just joining us, Archie is stuck.
Yeah, he's
He's coming for a cuddle, and he's got himself in a struggle.
Yeah, the only way for him to exit this situation is for him to, like, walk backwards, which he refuses to do. So
Like,
now,
he can.
He can do it. Like,
but
I
he
feel
just
like
hates doing it.
Yeah, I've seen him do it, but he's not about it, you know?
No, it makes him sad.
Yeah, you know, it's I feel like probably he has to, like, hold his breath when he does it or something stupid. Like, he's a real freak about it.
He's a real shark about it.
So now he's just, like, standing next to me. What's he gonna fucking do, you
Kind
know?
of too nervous to start. All right, buddy. I feel like we should ask you to leave.
All right, out you get, buddy. All done.
I can't. I'm stuck.
That's okay. You'll work it out. You're a smart boy.
I'm stuck.
You can sort it out. No.
All right, so he's gone under the table.
This is...
Wow. Okay. Now he's actually more stuck than he was before.
Hey, bud.
What is
like,
the plan
what's
from
the
here?
play? Yeah,
How
what
do you
is-
get out from there? So
So what, does he have to
Archie's
just
now-
turn back around?
if you imagine the recording room, it's a little square, and where I'm sitting, roughly in the middle, the door's to my left. There's a table in front of me, and to the right of the table is Archie.
Yes.
Blocking Archie's escape is Kieran, his father.
Hi. Hey.
And another table. There's actually, when you think about it, there's 5 tables in this room.
There is, like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I suppose there's 5 tables. And, like, an ad hoc table, which is just a chair.
Yeah, we had to bring in a new table because the 5...
We didn't have enough.
When will we have enough tables?
When will we have enough
We're so
tables?
greedy. They warned about this in the Bible.
They did.
All right, buddy. What's the plan now? You gonna try to get out? All right, now you go around that. Yeah, you're gonna go around that. Don't just sniff it. Go around the chair.
Daddy, look at me.
Come on, buddy. You can do this.
There you go, Stinky. Good boy. How'd you get?
All right. Archie's deciding to head outside.
Yeah,
He's heard his name. He's turned back. No, he's gone now.
Shit. You guys are doing some bullshit. I don't give a fuck.
All right. Well,
What's a bob to a twink?
glad to have that little guest appearance from Archie, but obviously we've got important stuff to talk about. This one
Hi.
actually comes to us from the UK,
Tell me.
but I think it's going to be something you'll see reflected in
Okay.
Australia, and it's really worrying and actually has a little bit to do with what we're talking about today.
Okay. Let's see. Teenage boys in UK stuck reading primary level books while girls' tastes expand. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Just read that subheading as well for me.
Jeff Kinney's Diary of a Wimpy Kid series accounts for 8 of the 10 most read books by 11 to 14-year-old boys, while girls the same age enjoy a wider range of authors and genres.
Yeah, these kids are just reading
Damn.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Do you ever read Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
It was after my time.
So that's
So
what
I think
you
that was
right?
more like my,
When do you think the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid came out?
2004.
2004. You are, I think, 6 years late.
Oh!
Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I'm going to bring it up right now. Written by Jeff Kinney, was first published in 2004. I read the bit where it's like the characters of the book were first designed in 1998, but then he didn't actually get it published until 2006, but it was published online in 2004.
2004.
Anyway, that's what the
that
kids
makes
are
some more
reading.
sense because 2006, you and I would have been in our final year of primary school. So,
No.
Is that not the case?
No.
We're in our first year of high school.
Yep.
Fuck. I know how years work. Don't you? Hey, don't you worry about that. I know what I'm doing.
But yeah, these kids.
But do you know what I'm doing?
Do they? Is that why they're all incels now? Because they've just been reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they're like, all I am is a wimpy kid.
All I am is just a wimpy fucking kid.
They
God
can't
damn
identify
it.
with any other
Ugh.
character.
That's so cringe. And I have to say this, I think, Captain Underpants supremacy over Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I wasn't allowed to read Captain Underpants. My mom's like, this is vulgar.
There's a captain who has underpants in this. I don't think we should be
This
looking
seems
at
like
this.
it's about butts and farting and stuff. That's not for
And
you.
it was. Yeah, I read maybe one Captain Underpants book, but my sibling had like shitloads. So Captain Underpants was in the house.
Did you read The Day My Bum Went Crazy?
It was The Day My Bum Went Psycho,
Oh.
and no, that was also in our house, but I didn't read it. I was really into Paul Jennings.
Oh, yeah.
I was really into Paul Jennings, like short stories and stuff, like,
Yeah.
the Unreal collection, and like there was a bunch of different like collections of short stories. I was really, really into Paul Jennings.
Hell yeah, Paul Jennings.
Yeah.
I think did Paul Jennings do Selby, that dog?
Selby?
Let's see who did Selby. Today we're talking about children's books.
Yeah.
Selby, Fully Loaded. Was the dog named Selby?
The dog, I think, was called Selby.
Selby, the talking dog. Here we go. Is by Duncan Ball. Completely different. I really like the Selby books.
Hell yeah.
He also wrote Emily Eyefinger, which
you liked. I remember you know about Emily Eyefinger.
I love Emily Eyefinger.
The concept of an eye on a finger freaks me out.
Yeah, I love Emily Eyefinger. There's this scene in that series where she meets a guy who runs a bank, and he's named Mr. Moneybags. And she's like, "It's strange that you're on a bank and your name is Mr. Moneybags." And he's like, "You have an eye on your finger and your name is Eyefinger."
It's like, what do you want? This is the world we live in. Okay?
This is the world we live in.
Grow up, kid. Yeah, Morris Gleitzman as well.
Did he do the Toad Rage
series? Yeah.
Definitely reading Toad Rage and then moving to Queensland. Culture shock.
Culture shock. Full culture shock.
Man, they want to kill these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why I'm like so like other than the fact that I'm generally like a soft touch for animals, right? Even insects and shit, I'm like, oh well, I don't want to kill them unless I'm like, you know, I don't. It's not my first choice is not to kill the animal, but like I think having read like Toad Rage, like read the whole like you know with Limpy and Goliath, and I feel like I've probably mentally humanized
cane toads,
you know,
and they're
so I'm like, I can't.
Dumb.
They're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, like
they're actually really stupid.
They don't lend themselves to like anthropomorphization.
No.
Or whatever. They're like they don't seem to express much. But hey, that could be
hopping,
Limpy.
Bad at like
they're
fucking being around and shit. Like they're
just around.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, you know, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. You know, I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. I ain't spending any time on it.
Hey, folks, welcome and happy
New Year.
Happy New Year. It's wonderful to be back. We're so grateful that you're here once again to join us, Yanni and Kieran.
Hi.
Kieran, say hi.
Hi.
On our ongoing quest to understand what the fuck is going on. And today, we are going to be looking at the Royal Commission on Antisemitism and Social Cohesion.
Hell yeah.
The Commission has finished listening to evidence and provided an interim report with 14 recommendations, 5 of them confidential, and the final report is due sometime in December. There's gun stuff, police stuff, and more protection for Jewish events. My favorite recommendation is number 7, which states that
every security minister, including the Prime Minister and all national cabinet members, should participate in a counter-terrorism exercise within 9 months of each federal election.
They're going to LARP mass shooting every 3 years with the Prime Minister and all the cabinet members.
I don't want that to be, like, the norm.
No.
For this country. I saw... So stupid. I am really into Instagram reels. But I saw a reel and it was about like a short film about a school shooting or whatever in the US. And, you know, I've seen clips of it before. It seems like it's quite good. Like people tend to be like, yeah, this is a great depiction of blah, blah, blah. But the comments are all just like, the first comment I saw when I opened the comments, because I was like, oh, I'll see what people are saying, was... This is why the teacher should have had a gun. She had a clear line of sight.
She had a clear line of sight. Give all the teachers guns.
And I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. Did we just watch the same clip of, like, a grown woman desperately telling her children not to, like, look at the dead bodies of their classmates and go, like, if only she'd had a gun in this situation?
If only she'd had a gun. There's no way that could have gone worse.
And another thing, I, last night, was driving around and heard, like, a really loud car backfiring. And, you know, it sounded very much like a gun. And the reason I knew it wasn't a gun is because this is where I live.
Yeah, this is like, it's probably not a gun.
It's not going to be a gun. Most of the time, it's just some fuck-ass's car.
Sucks if it is a gun and you think it's not a gun.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen to most people.
But that doesn't really happen to most people.
You're probably not... But I think it's a really good idea for all of the political leaders to be going through a terrorist act, LARP, every 3 years. I think that's great. I think that's really good for their psyche.
I think that's just going to, like... Don't they already have lockdown drills? It's just the same shit, right?
No,
Just
I imagine it's
lockdown
going to
and
be
shit.
like, Prime Minister, this event has happened. What are you going to do? They're going to go like, yeah, there was at a synagogue in Melbourne, there was 20 people were shot at this time, blah, blah, blah. What do you do? And it's like, all right, what's the security minister going to do in that situation? Every 3 years, they're going to go through a, scenario of a big terrorist attack. And, I mean, it doesn't necessarily say that it's going to be a, Jew targeting attack in the recommendations.
No.
But I think that's the implication.
Well, yeah, I think the implication is it's just like, hey, we gotta get on this.
Yeah, we got to make sure that they're, living through the feeling of the country being attacked every 3 years. So they really...
It's going to be really good for people like certain members of Parliament with their own unique issues.
Yeah, some of them were going to have fun. I didn't realize this because we plugged in after the whole process had ended, but they had written this interim report with the recommendations before the hearings that we're going to talk about today. Which
What?
gives a vibe of a decision having already been made.
Yeah, so why the fuck did they do the hearings if they'd already done all this? What was the point? Was it just to be
think
like,
the report
here's
was-
the airing of grievances,
I guess so. I think that they can still change it, right? They have a final report.
I guess this is an interim
Yeah,
report.
yeah.
But
They
it
have
just,
a final report due in December, I think.
Fair enough, I guess.
We'll wait to see how many of these recommendations are taken up, and if we ever find out about what the confidential recommendations are, and how many of them are more guns, bigger guns, which is what we're seeing in Queensland, the Northern Territory, and Victoria, where a variety of laws to introduce more weapons into police's hands or reduce the weapons being taken from people's hands are being pursued by leaders in those states.
Yeah, we have Victoria's Alpine Region Police to carry long-arm rifles after Desi Freeman officer murders. Darwin's dangerous bus network will soon have officers armed with guns. Whoa, they're just going to put fucking guns on buses in Darwin?
Bus cops. I think we briefly spoke about that a long time ago when it was proposed.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Bus cops with guns.
National gun buyback doesn't address anti-Semitism and hatred, Queensland Premier says. Does it need to? I'm sorry, it's a gun buyback.
Yeah, but he says it does. I mean, this is the Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism. He's like, hey, what's that have to do with guns? But yeah, so Chris Foley, the Queensland Premier, is refusing to play along with the gun buyback scheme.
It's the North in general that would have more guns anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like Western Australia, Northern Territory, and Queensland, based on a lot of the rural aspect of it, are going to have more guns based on just the need for guns.
I think it's probably country New South Wales as well.
Yeah,
in
probably
general,
country New South
rural
Wales.
areas have
rural
more,
areas are
going to
need guns. That's kind of the digs.
And that's one thing. It's becoming common for police to be carrying a lot of guns where they go.
Up. City guns, no.
That's you got higher density environments and people who aren't really needing to use them. But the commission, if you're a nation in a vacuum, that sucks.
God damn.
But if you're a nation and in a vacuum, there's a violent incident within the borders you control in which the death toll is quite high. Part of being a nation is responding to that. From that perspective, it's hard to argue against this Royal Commission.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody's perspective is this is the government looking into the terrorist attack.
Yes.
Right? So in a vacuum, this is a predictable thing for the government to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I did want to compare with other royal commissions into these kinds of things in Australia. Except, as we kind of learned last week, there aren't really any.
Yeah.
There weren't any mass casualty events royal commissions or anything before.
No.
There wasn't one run into Port Arthur. The shooting in Port Arthur.
Crazy.
I think there was a state level one run, or
Yeah,
a coronial inquest. There's other things.
Yeah.
There also wasn't a royal commission into the Lindt Cafe siege, which is a weird moment in history. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was super weird. I remember everyone keeping an eye on. I mean, we worked in an office, I think, at that time, so we just were able to keep an eye on it.
The guy who did it, I didn't realize how weird he was. He was well known for being a weirdo before he did this. Also, out of the there were 3 people shot. One of them was this guy. One of them he shot, and then one of them the cops shot, just a witness.
Yeah.
So a big part of the response was looking into that. But here's a random excerpt from the guy who did it, whose last name is Moniz, his Wikipedia page.
Okay. Moniz attempted to join the Rebels Motorcycle Club sometime in 2012 or 2013, and was photographed with a 1% logo representing outlaw motorcycle clubs. Club members reportedly stated no one really liked him, and described him as strange and weird, and said, He would say he had a lot of money, but then he didn't have any. He was kicked out of the club and rebels took his motorbike. That's crazy. That's crazy. They're just like, we asked the motorcycle gang and they said, oh, that freak? Yeah, we kicked him out and took his shit.
We thought he was a freak.
Yeah, he was a fucking freak. Of course we got rid of him. And it's like, damn, kicked out of the motorcycle club? Damn.
So, without a royal commission from the motorcycle club that could tell us more about Manhar Morris, I thought a bit further, and the first incident that comes to mind as a point of comparison is Brenton Tarrant, the Australian man who killed 51 people in a mosque in Christchurch in 2019.
Yes.
At the end of the day, he was radicalised to do so by Australia's prevailing culture and belief.
Yeah.
New Zealand obviously did their royal commission into it. And they spent a while building the context of Tarrant as like a right-wing lone wolf extremist.
Yeah.
Talking about his radicalisation and extensive world travel, comparing his account with the facts they could put together from his family and available records to try to figure out like when he snapped and what the logistics are of him getting these guns, where did he learn to use them, how did he plan the attack, and so on, right?
Yeah.
Notably, I think, the commission found that there's not that much that can be done about a financially independent loner who is socialized well enough to act normal in public.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole rub, isn't it? It's, if somebody can go undetected, then they can just pull this stuff off.
Exactly. And that's why a lot of police units will, want to invest in things that sound like pre-crime or predictive policing and things like that. But at the end of the day, if someone just kind of decides to do this,
they can just go do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something you can say about monitoring people's online behavior, but that's also very difficult to do.
That's also if you can monitor that online behavior.
They found he was on 4chan and stuff.
Classic.
For what it's worth, they did find that his family knew about all his violent far-right views, but they were just like, oh, Bren's a little weird. Nothing worried
Yeah, he was
about.
strange and weird, and no one really liked him, and he said he had a lot of money, but then he didn't have any, so we kicked him out of the family and took his motorbike.
So then there's this from Radio New Zealand's website.
Okay. Christchurch terror attack inquest. Terrorist always spoke of a race war, says sister. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, my brother's always talking about a race war.
Yeah, he loves talking about race wars. This is like a more obscene version of the Unabomber.
Yeah.
Where his brother's like, yeah, my brother was always saying like weird like sayings.
Yeah,
and then there was this weird saying in the letter to the police. And it's like, fuck, that was my stupid weird brother.
Reverse the way you use common aphorisms or whatever.
Yeah, have your cake and eat it too.
He'd say it the other way around. He'd say, eat your cake and have it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I think the Unabomber is a much more sympathetic figure than Brenton Tarrant.
Oh, for sure.
But,
no arguments from me.
Like, the idea is that he's just like an independent person who's able to be self-sufficient. In Brenton Tarrant's case, it's because his dad died and left him a bunch of money. Unabomber's case, he goes and lives in the cabins. He's a professor or whatever before he's that, right?
Yeah.
His sister also told the court about who her brother idolized. Karen, can you guess who Brenton Tarrant idolized?
Is it gonna be like a new school figure or an old school figure?
Old school.
Is it gonna be Hitler?
It's Hitler.
Of course it's Hitler. Here were my guesses. Hitler or fucking what's his goddamn name?
This is great. I wonder who it is.
Polish sex crimes.
Wait, Polish Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
This was so long ago.
That's why I was like,
yeah.
damn, I don't think that would have been right, but then I was like, well, Hitler's a good choice. For most of these guys, I think you could say Hitler is probably a hero to most of them.
And his sister's like, yeah, he was always talking about how much he loved Hitler, how he wanted to start a race war, but I wouldn't have stopped him from getting a gun because he was a nice guy, normal guy. It's
Girl, you come from a fucked family, full offense. I'm so sorry.
She comes from a fucked country. At the end of the day, I have met people who I think probably have those sorts of views.
Absolutely.
But there's no way to know that they might shoot people. There's a brief conversation in New Zealand's commission about social cohesion. But it's a part of a section about how to celebrate diversity.
Yeah.
And it's also not, notably, hundreds of accounts of racism against Muslims. Or an investigation into the relatively mainstream racism amongst white Australian men. We didn't get, for instance, a bunch of Muslim teenagers telling the court about the slurs they've been called at school, which we do get in this Royal Commission. I know this isn't how these countries work, but I wish that New Zealand's commission had found something about Australia, specifically. Like, Australia is breeding a generation of hateful, socially stunted men with confusing and irrelevant white supremacist politics that read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I mean, he was raised here, he had a job, he went to school, he had a few friends. He killed 51 people in a mosque in New Zealand. Like, Australia should have probably done a royal commission into, like, how did we produce this guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it's like when John Howard did that racism commission in the 90s and then hid the findings, right?
Yeah, and was just like, oh, I actually don't think I like these findings because it shows how racist we are.
It shows how big a problem it is. So I'm on record saying that New Zealanders are overrated. But we have a different media ecosystem and theirs does seem better.
Yeah, to interrupt you for a moment, you've got that shirt that says, fuck New Zealanders.
It's not meant to. It's an accident. And I've got rid of it. I threw it out.
For reference, it was meant
to say fuck Nazis.
But it's got the vowels removed, so it just says, like, fuck NZs.
There was a fascinating paper I found via Wikipedia, obviously, from Kotuitui, New Zealand Journal of Social Sciences. It looked into the different media reactions to the Christchurch shooting in Australia and New Zealand. In New Zealand, Tarrant is notably only referred to in the media as the terrorist. The video he took of the shooting was repressed from the media as much as possible, and his manifesto was mostly kept out of the news. In comparison, and Kieran's going to quote directly from the wiki here,
the media response in Australia was different, focusing on the extreme violence of the attack, as well as the attacker and his manifesto. The Australian published an audio excerpt containing cries for help, and the Herald Sun wrote dramatic descriptions of victims being shot and used poetic devices to create more vivid imagery. Coverage of the victims was largely focused on physical horrors such as bloodshed, injuries, and graves being dug.
Yeah.
It's because I think Australians and Australian media in particular have, like, horse blinders on when it comes to empathy.
Yeah.
In that there are, like, perhaps, like, 3 categories of people who are entitled to empathy in the Australian viewpoint. And if you're outside of that, you don't get that empathy. And the people who were victims of this terrorist don't get empathy. But he does fall into the category of an empathetic figure. He's a white man. Yeah. And so, of course, he gets empathy, you know? It's just like,
I think if
the racism of it is so clear and so apparent. And it always is. Yeah.
I mean, you might not remember, but it was his comments about the Christchurch shooting that caused that kid to egg Fraser Anning.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, you know, the victims deserved it for invading our countries or whatever. And he got hit by an egg.
Shout out to Egg Boy.
Shout out to Egg Boy. I hope he's doing well. When the Wikipedia says poetic devices, they're referring to onomatopoeias because the Herald Sun wrote, like, bang, bang, bang in their transcript of the audio that they published.
Jeez.
Where it's just like panicked screams. And, you know, much more of what his manifesto was about was published. Whereas, like, New Zealand, like, I saw in a lot of the coverage, there was a couple, like, Sky, pretty early on, published a bit more, but then they deleted it, and...
Well, yeah, you would expect that from Sky.
Sky New Zealand, yeah. But, like, everywhere else, like, was just like, we're not going to publish his name, we're not going to publish pictures of him.
Yeah.
The Australian published an article about Christchurch called City of the Damned, where they're talking about, they're kind of like, hey, you've heard about the shooting, yeah, you heard about the earthquakes? Kind of implying a thing, you know? The editors of the papers in question were basically like, hey, we don't want our readers asking questions about us being biased. This is what they're expecting from us. This is what they want to see. This is what they want to read about. This is Australia. Don't bother reading papers. So on to the Royal Commission into Antisemitism and Social Cohesion, and also the shooting at Bondi Beach. I don't want this episode to just be a point and laugh session at some ghouls, or laying the moral contradictions bare, but there's a lot of testimony that rings as vaguely pathetic or kind of unbelievable, so I couldn't resist. We'll be interspersing that with, I guess, some analysis. But, like, a lot of these stories are bizarre and don't really make sense on the face of it. So these are witnesses who have been called to give testimony at the Royal Commission, and I think there were 8 days of witnesses about this, and then there was a kind of separate session of the commission about the security response. So this one's from Vic Al-Hadef, who is on the SBS board.
I was in Bondi and I was waiting to turn into a public parking lot, and a car was blocking the access into the parking lot. There was quite a bit of space in front of him. I rolled down my window and politely said, "Could you move forward, please?" At which he erupted and said, "Effing," he didn't the full word, "effing South African Jew. You think you can come to this country and take over?" And again, "effing South African Jew. Bro, how do you know that?
How would he know?
How would he know?
How would he fucking know that? That sounds completely fake.
Yeah.
Unless he has, like, proud South African Jew on his car.
You know? Or, like, he was, like, trying to think of a South African accent. I can do this. Mark.
We go, like, hey, move your fucking car, mate. Oy vey. Like, what did he do?
Move your car. I'm a South African Jew.
Yeah.
Move your car. Move your car forward, please.
Yeah, but like we weren't there.
No.
We just have to accept this guy's like lie. I mean, alleged lie. I'm alleging he's lying.
He's a doctor. How dare you?
No, I mean he's an author of 2 books of South African history and has run 25 marathons.
Oh shit!
Found that from his SBS page.
That is a verifiable source.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories that just sound like that, including at least one case where a witness's submitted statement contradicted what she said in court. Like, we can't analyze these anecdotes in general, which is probably why they shouldn't really be part of a royal commission, but it is a lot of it. There's 8 days of testimony, across which 64 people, or sets of people, give public evidence. A few families gave evidence together. A few witnesses were heard privately, so we can't do anything about that. Many of the witnesses are from peak body-style Zionist organizations, including 3 members of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, or ECAJ, Jeremy Liebler of Marx Balls and the Zionist Federation of Australia, ZFA, at least 2 guys from the IDF, a few school principals, and like representatives of other organizations, like Jewish peak body, Zionist peak body organizations. The orgs presented a lot of like data. Data's probably a stretch.
Yeah.
As they're mostly survey results from bizarre surveys.
Hell yeah.
They're very absurd and also sometimes give the game away a little bit in ways that the commission generally breezes past. For instance, the Door Foundation, the Josh Frydenberg established foundation to combat anti-Semitism, published a tolerance index. They asked 2,000 people how tolerant they think Australians are about Italians, Chinese, Jewish, Indian, First Nation, and Muslim Australians. And they do this every 2 years. Now, does that not just sound insane to do?
Yes.
That just as an exercise, it's insane. And I don't know how they get this number, but each of the ethnic groups gets a tolerance score.
Yeah, which is also crazy.
Yeah, from 0 to 10, you get a score of how tolerant you think Australia is to these groups. And if you look at the numbers presented by the Door Foundation, they're like, look, attitudes towards the Jewish community have gone down. It's gone from 6.25 tolerance to 6.1 tolerance. You scroll slightly to the right, you see that Indians and First Nations Australians have it worse, and Muslims have had like a bigger drop, and they're all the way down at 5.18 tolerance. Whatever the units of tolerance are.
You know what's crazy? The only cohort in this, even though only like some of it has been highlighted as negatives, the only cohort here who has a better tolerance rating is Chinese.
Yep, they've gone up.
Everybody else has gone down.
Everybody else has gone down. Who did they ask? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, right? This came up on a second survey, given his evidence later as well, which was just what proportion of Australians report negative attitudes towards this or that group, right?
Yeah.
More than a third of Australians report negative attitudes towards Muslims.
Yeah.
Nowhere else was like in the 20s.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't surprise me, given everything.
Yeah, and when these things were presented to the commission, because there's like a lawyer as well who gets to ask questions on behalf of different bodies. I wanted to figure out like the workings of all that. I wasn't that interested after a while because these are just all lawyers. They're all from law things.
They're doing their own bullshit.
But there were a couple of times where the people presenting this data were like, well, it does seem to say that there's a much bigger Islamophobia problem. That's what your results seem to say.
Yes.
And it's just kind of swerved around.
And they're like, well, that's crazy. That's not what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah. Like, here's another chart from the Online Hate Prevention Institute, which is the number and proportion of angry reactions on Anthony Albanese's Facebook posts celebrating different religious festivals.
Damn,
This is in the Royal Commission. You can see that while the Jewish post has the highest proportion of angry reactions, 9.5%, the Muslim posts have a higher number of angry reactions. See, the Ramadan post, which they spelled Ramadan wrong.
Yeah, they've said it Ramada.
And they got 1,400 angry reactions compared to 735 for the Jewish post. However, that 735 is 10% compared to 4.4% for the Ramadan. You see, this is
just numbers.
insanity.
Yeah.
you're going to get more people coming out to hate Muslims, as well as more people coming out to not hate Muslims. It's a bigger group of people.
Yeah. That is also the thing. Like, and I will admit I didn't know about, like, how large the Jewish population in Australia was until, like, all of this happened, right?
Yeah.
Because I have never met a Jewish person, like...
I've met a bunch of people who are, like, whose parents are Jewish, whose mom is Jewish, whose grandparents are Jewish, who are just, like, not Jewish anymore. In the way that, like I wouldn't say if I had met you, I wouldn't say I met a Catholic person.
Yeah, like, I'm not a Catholic.
Right? Like, there's probably been a bunch of people you've met who are, like, Jewish in a sense.
Yeah.
In an ethnicity sense.
Yeah.
And not in a practicing religious sense.
Yeah.
Plus, you went to Catholic school.
Plus, I went to Catholic school, so that really does change things.
They don't send many Jews there.
They don't send a whole lot of Jews there, yeah.
But yeah, like, it's a surprisingly large diaspora that you don't, I guess, hear about as much growing up.
No, like, I really thought it was kind of like a very, like, American thing. When I was younger, I was just like, oh yeah, Jewish people are from America. Because I didn't know anything else.
Well, the second largest population of Jews outside of Israel is New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might come back to all this survey stuff specifically later one day. There was a lot of it. And unfortunately, a lot of it would just be going through like, hey, look at how this question is like a leading question. It's constructed to give the most convenient answer to the Door Foundation. And this question doesn't make sense and blah, blah, blah. They consistently showed, however, whatever problems Jewish Australians are facing or feel like they're facing, a much worse manifestation of that problem affects Muslim Australians.
Yes.
Like, even on the face of it, taking these problems as just things that happen and not connecting them to the rest of the world, it's clearly worse.
Yeah.
I read this infuriating article by Julie Nathan from ECAJ, and I know we always talk about her, and we're going to talk about her again later, but she kind of lorded over that no other community group is able to conduct these do they hate us surveys so frequently. All the while talking about how the surveys that they do every single year showed that Jews are the most hated. And she's like, and these other communities don't even conduct enough surveys. That's how little of a hate problem they have.
That's crazy.
So then she presents this chart to the Royal Commission. So from left to right, it's lines representing anti-Jewish documented hate, anti-Asian hate, anti-Muslim hate, and anti-First Nations hate. Now you'll notice the blue line that represents anti-Jewish hate goes all the way up in 2024, right?
Yeah.
To the point where it's more than any other line put together. They're saying there were 2,000 incidents, right?
Yeah.
You'll also notice that the rest of the ethnicities don't have lines for all of them.
No.
Because, like, I read into them. They, like, don't have anywhere near as much funding, for one thing. And they're also not really lining up to just, like, hey, let's get a book of all the acts of racism we heard.
Happened. Well, because
why would you want to do that?
Because it's so normalized for anybody in this country who, like, basically just doesn't look white. If you're not white passing, you are going to receive racism in this country from white people.
Yeah, just all the time.
Just straight up, and it's so casual as well.
Yeah.
Like, it will...
No, I'll forget it by the time I get home.
Right? Like, it's baffling.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, and you would go genuinely fucking nuts if you thought about all the things that were said to you or done to you in a day, and you just had to record all of it, you know, every single day, just being like, okay, well, here is my, like, binders full of fucking, like...
Binders full of... Like, the one that got me the most is the anti-Asian hate, which was only counted in 2020 and 2021. Again, because who wants to do this? This is such a miserable task.
It's a miserable task, and also...
It doesn't tell you anything other than Australians are racist.
It doesn't tell you anything other than Australians are racist, and also it, like... Are you telling me, with a straight face, with a serious face, that there has been no Asian hate?
None.
Until 2020, which I'm assuming is the COVID stuff, right? Like,
I think it's the COVID stuff, and it's when that organization kind of was formed.
Yeah.
And, like, there's just not a great deal of interest in this kind of thing.
And what we're seeing here is that, anti-Jewish hatred has always been...
The biggest problem.
The biggest problem, except for... 2020, where Asians were able to beat them out, and 2022, when First Nations were able to beat them out.
But
And
every
that's
other
it.
year, Indigenous people and Asian people face a lower number of racist events in Australia than Jewish people.
I mean, it's true.
They're
I
not
mean,
even it's not even a proportion. They're saying.
think about the rates of Jewish incarceration. I mean,
You're right. And
they're
think about
all-
the
it's
security state monitoring Jews.
it's crazy. And I mean, they live on all of these compounds, and they're not allowed to have alcohol there. I mean, it's just really awful what's happening.
It's terrible what's happening.
Probably worse than what's happened to anybody else.
I can't imagine.
I mean, can you remember the Jewish
stolen?
stolen generation? That was crazy.
In general, the most common themes across the testimony that I identified are the following 4. Antisemitism was either rare or non-existent until October 7, when it became rapidly extremely problematic to the point of resembling the Third Reich, pre-World War II Germany.
Classic.
Kids keep doing Hail Hitlers at school and other similar anecdotes, and as a result, the children of Zionists are being profoundly traumatized by their parents in secure compounds. Criticism of Israel or criticism of Zionism is actually criticism of Jews in almost all cases. And the Zionists are tired of hearing about all the dead kids in Gaza, and they're also just kind of tired.
Like, that's boring. My child could maybe also, like, get dead.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
We want the security officers to have long-armed rifles like the Victoria Police.
It's fucking crazy.
9 of the people giving testimony, or about 13%, are South African, which is apparently the same proportion of Australian Jews who are South African by the most recent Jewish census results that I could find.
That's crazy also.
Yeah, 13% of Australian Jews are South Africans who moved here in the 80s or 90s.
Weird. I wonder why.
Here's a little taster of the rest of the episode. The second witness on day 1 is an anonymous South African white immigrant referred to as AAL, and he describes his upbringing and what he felt when he came to Australia this way.
Okay. Do I do the accent? That's the ultimate question.
I trust you, whichever way.
Okay, amazing. Mark. South Africa. I love Australia. I love Australia because it reminds me of South Africa, where I grew up as a youngster. Was that like an Italian Russian? Anyway.
I think that's an Italian Russian.
Yeah. I love Australia because it reminds me of South Africa when I grew up as a youngster. We never locked the doors. We had great relationships with our African servants and African people, and it just was reminiscent of that. It was just a wonderful, homely, safe place to grow up. Bro, shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
This is the second witness. The second person we
It's
heard
just
from.
like,
the Royal Commission.
when we first came here, I liked that you had almost like a type of African here as well. You had
your own apartheid here as well.
Which was quite familiar. You could bring them into your home. Cooking, cleaning, don't have to lock your doors. Of course, it's what I like the most is just having that familiarity of apartheid South Africa.
That's AAL. His testimony in general was a pretty fitting introduction to the Royal Commission. He moved here from South Africa in the 80s, although he had businesses established all over the world and could have gone anywhere.
Okay, Mr. Worldwide.
A rich South African white man's like, where's the best place for me to go?
Where am I going to go? Damn.
Australia.
Damn. Just imagine how close we were to possibly having Elon Musk in Australia.
I can't believe we didn't. I can't believe he lost it over there. Oh, he's in America.
Yeah.
He's been in America for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually been living in South Africa in a while.
No.
If he comes here, he's not as bad. He's not able to reach as...
Well, he just gets neutered because everyone's just like, we're not doing that. And he's like, why not? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, that's a persecuted minority by South Africans.
That's dumb shit.
He tells a story about a substitute teacher at the school his granddaughter goes to who, quote, performed several Hail Hitler salutes during class.
Oh,
We just
he
lives just like the substitute teacher's like, and the lesson wasn't even about Jews or Gaza or whatever. And he just did a bunch of Hail Hitlers in class at school, at a public or private high school.
What the fuck?
And I mean, I don't believe that story, but like, who am I to say?
Crazy if true, but I will say, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, there is a lot of Heil Hitlers that go on in Australian schools.
No, there is a lot of Heil Hitlers that
perpetrated
go
by
on in
somebody
Australian
who's
schools.
between 11 and like 15.
Yeah, that's a lot of the anti-Semites in this commission.
Yeah.
But he says this is the teacher who does it.
Crazy.
But like, I don't know. Like, it could have happened. This is like, I've had I've had teachers say racist shit to me.
Yeah, no, I've heard some of the stories.
AAL also says that the root cause of the problem is Islamism.
Radical
Islam, which is going to cause the entire country to fall.
100% Sharia law,
100% Sharia law, 2%
Constitution, whatever Jackie Lambie said.
Can't be halfway in, halfway out.
Can't be half in, half out.
Gotta put your whole dick in it.
100%.
He's allowed to leave. Wealthy, anonymous, racist, and spurious. A few people are going to repeat lies or disproven allegations and not have that addressed by the Royal Commission. If you remember when Israel bombed a hospital and then said Hamas did it by mistake and then kept bombing hospitals anyway.
Yeah.
The Israeli line goes unchallenged in the Royal Commission.
It's just fucking outrageous.
So let's start with the October 7 stuff. The apparent shift in mood that happened after October 7 when the anti-Semitism went from not real to real. Two witnesses, as it were, said they felt let down by friends who weren't supportive after October 7, including one lady who worked with unions and felt like the union wasn't welcoming to her Zionist views. Hey, shout out unions.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Hell yeah. This is why the government hates you so much.
This is why, yeah. Hey. That's a conspiracy theory. That's a trope.
Cut that.
A representative from the National Council of Jewish Women said that she and her husband have been uninvited from a Christmas Eve party that they used to attend every year.
Oh no.
Colby Pineth, who works in the insolvency industry, says that before October 7, he didn't feel like being called a fucking Jew was necessarily anti-Semitic because Australians are like that with all ethnicities.
Okay.
So that's true
so
far. But since October 7, he says it's different. He says some guy on the train, who Covey says was visibly disheveled, said, "How many babies would you need to kill in Gaza before you'll be happy, you fucking Jew?" So just like a random homeless guy on the train sees him, immediately is like, "You're Jewish."
That's a Jew.
And then is just like, babies dying in Gaza. And I mean, also, this is like a debt specialist. Like, I don't trust someone who's a debt specialist.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild one.
Sharon Blum had a lot of testimony, and she blogs as a professional Zioness, sorry, for the Times of Israel. And she goes as far as to say this about Australia's anti-Semitism.
Okay. I've been teaching Holocaust studies for a couple of decades, and we've never been able to so easily find examples of how quickly extremism can bubble up and take hold of a society. It's heartbreaking that it's so easy to find such examples that can be connected within our own country.
She talked a lot. And if I'm reading that correctly, she says this is the fastest rise of anti-Semitism she has seen through all her studies since the Holocaust. That feels like an astounding statement.
Yeah, and I feel like not true.
The idea
at
that
all.
Like,
that's a crazy thing to suggest.
Say. There's a phrase I hear, actually existing anti-Semitism. And it's like, listen, are you unable to get housing because you're Jewish? Are you unable to stay in your house because you're Jewish? Like, that's what is talked about. In Australia, there was an article by The Shot, which is the Chaser's like news thing, and they called this the Royal Commission into the hurt feelings of genocidal psychopaths. And like, that's what, a lot of it's just like, hey, listen, I don't like that Australia's like this either. I think it's probably worth a national conversation about racism, like John Howard suppressed in the 90s.
Yeah,
and it hasn't been done properly since. But if we're focusing on one target, we're going to get a very skewed view of what the situation is like.
Yes, and like, don't you also think this lends to an increase in that kind of racism? Like, here's the thing, right? For starters, the Royal Commission, if it does want to actually look into, like, you know, anti-Semitism and what that means, right? I feel like it's crazy, I don't know, to just be doing it in this way. Like, I just feel like this kind of thing, if done for any other, like, group of people, would encourage Australian dickheads to be more vindictive to that group of people.
Yep.
Like, if this was a bunch of Chinese Australians being like, let me lay out, you know, the situation, it would be like, it would be bad for them.
They'd also have so many days of testimony.
Exactly.
And so many stories of just being bashed in the street and shit like that. Being denied for rental accommodation.
Yeah. Like, just, you know, just even in the simple ways of being like, you know, like, oh, yeah, people don't sit next to you on the bus. Or, you know, like, you're just passed over for a job interview because your name looks a certain way. And so people are like, nah, better not. You know, like, it's Yeah,
it's like this Royal Commission into one specific form of something we call racism just highlights that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And also I find it like, and from a personal level, I don't understand how you could look at someone and immediately be like, that's a Jewish person. In the same way you could be like, that's a Chinese. Unless they're, like, quite literally, like, you know...
a lot of people,
like
they talk about visibly Jewish. That's a phrase that came up a lot in the Royal Commission, which, again, a phrase I don't like. But they talk about, like, if they're wearing the kippah or the yarmulke or whatever as being the main thing, or if they're being seen coming out of a synagogue or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And also, a few times, there's this thing called a mezuzah that Jewish families have on their house, and it's a little letter that says that they're Jewish.
Yep.
I didn't know about this. A couple of people were like, when I have tradies come over, I don't let them see the mezuzah. It's like, so you think tradies are anti-Semitic? I thought it was university students.
Interesting. No, it's disheveled people in the train.
It's disheveled people in the train. And then there's this one very tortured story where someone's like, and I discovered the letter had been replaced with a sheet of paper that said Free Palestine on the mezuzah.
Oh.
I like, again, I don't believe that. And also, what are you talking, like a little... Anyway, many of the respondents, notably Alex Rivchin from ECAJ, described pro-Palestine rallies after October 7 as celebrations of October 7, when they should have been mourning the dead Israelis. The protest at the Opera House, in which early reports of rally attendees chanting "Gas the Jews" were pretty quickly debunked by the police. That was mentioned by many of the witnesses. A lot of people who were there were like, it's always phrased pretty carefully, saying things like, we were hearing that they were saying "Gas the Jews." We were being told that they were saying "Gas the Jews." Even though it's been, I suppose, legally proven that they weren't. And, like, I wouldn't expect the police to be, like, pro-Palestine protester.
No, I feel like the police are usually just going to be like, yeah, I don't know what stakes they would have in this in terms of, like, denying that fact.
Well, their specific role is now to look at anti-Semitism. Like, there's police who are going around, like, telling people to take watermelon stickers off their cars and shit.
Yeah.
I think if they found someone saying "Gas the Jews," they would have leapt on that.
Yeah.
It's the police. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Michael Gowenda, who wrote the Mark Liebler book, said that his Judaism isn't being celebrated by public broadcasters anymore, when it was prior to October 7. Let's see what Michael Gowenda's up to lately. Here's an article he wrote for The Australian.
Jewish voters turn to Pauline's promised land. Come on, man.
Just advertising, like, yeah, and also, we're all going to vote for Pauline Hanson because the government's so racist. After the Royal Commission. This came out, like, a few days ago.
I love, and again, this is the second episode I'm doing this in a row, where I mean, when I say I love, I mean I actually despise, like I hate with a burning passion.
Classic Kieran
This is
stuff.
my classic Kieran stuff. I love morons. I love them.
Michael
I'm just like, damn.
Such a fucking idiot.
You are so fucking brain dead.
He is.
You
I
are
mean, he
so
wrote the
dumb.
Mark
Everyone being
Liebler.
like, actually, now I'm going to do this. Because I think Pauline's going to be... It's not even like... It's just like punishment shit. It's just like... It's you know, you don't want to have what your parents made for dinner because you don't like it. So you're just like, I guess I'll just starve.
I guess I'll just fucking starve.
Okay. Starve, cunt.
Starve,
I don't know
cunt.
what you want. Because that's what you'll get. And then it'll be like, it's unfair that you didn't feed me anything. And it's like, you chose not to eat what was available. I don't know. It just, she's not going to be better for you.
No, she's not.
She's going to be bad for everyone.
No, I'm surprised that they don't
logistically,
think...
you know this.
You have to know that Pauline Hanson likes Hitler.
Right?
You have to know that.
Right?
Like, she's like a white supremacist. I don't know. I mean, I think she's been courting the Zionists.
Well, yeah, because they're the whitest type of Jewish person, right?
Yeah, I don't know if she really knows about Jews like that.
No, probably not in any sort of way that, like, I'm sure she grew up hearing some absolute...
well, that's the thing. I'm sure she grew up hearing
rippers.
some absolute things. And also, but as you said, a big part of the Jewish population in Australia are, like, European. They're, like, Anglo-Jews, so, like, British ethnicity, or Ashkenazi Jews. Like, that's a big proportion. Or South African.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Crazy.
There was this guy who he was a musician, and he's like, I'm losing money because I used to host these Israel nights at bars, and they're no longer letting me do that after October 7, which is anti-Semitism, because the venues all support Palestine. It's like, what, music venues? No way.
The arts, bro?
The arts?
Not the arts,
Not the
bro.
arts. He says he feels unsafe because he put a picture of him serving in the IDF and how proud he was up on Facebook, and all the comments are like...
You're a murderer.
You're a murderer. My favorite of these before and after stories comes to us from witness ABJ, who, anonymous, that's how they do the anonymity, who's another one of these South Africans who came here in the late 1980s. Weird. She's got like a suicide hotline volunteering job. It sounds like she works at Lifeline, but there may well be other organizations who do something similar, but like crisis counseling.
Yeah.
Her big complaint, the thing making her feel unsafe, is people calling to talk about how Israel's genocide is hurting their mental health. Now, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But here's what life's like on the Lifeline lines at the moment, according to ABJ.
They have to say they were in crisis to use the line. So they would say they're in crisis because they couldn't go into McDonald's. They can't go to McDonald's. Why? Because we know who owns McDonald's. The Jews own everything. They have their tentacles everywhere, and they just own everything.
So she alleges that she's getting these calls at the crisis service where people are just calling to talk about how much they hate Jews. I obviously don't believe that, but I can't say that about every witness.
No, like, I think it's entirely possible that that could happen. I feel like if someone was going to want to talk about, like, anti-Jewish rhetoric, they would probably, and they wanted to offend Jewish people, they would call up Jewish organizations to specifically say that shit, which I'm sure people have done.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely,
a couple of people from synagogue said that.
Very certain that people have been harassed.
Oh, I have no reason to doubt that. Phone harassment? Absolutely. They're doing that from Slovakia. Come on now.
Yeah. But, like, I think probably what's happened in this situation is she has answered the phone, as is her job, and somebody has spoken about how watching people being gunned down with no remorse, no empathy, no reaction from the international community is like, it makes you feel crazy.
Yeah.
And you feel fucked up and helpless. And she goes, so that's my fault?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like, girl, I didn't even know you were Jewish. Like, what are you talking about?
Because that's the other thing, right?
Like,
there's no way for, in theory...
Hashtag visibly Jewish.
Yeah, like she can't even be that. Like, how's she greeting them?
You know?
Shalom! Welcome to Lifeline. Like, what are you talking about?
That's...
And also this McDonald's thing. I can imagine someone being like everywhere around me is stuff that's owned by Israelis, and even McDonald's is a company that supports Israel, and I can't go anywhere without seeing companies that support Israel. Yeah. And it's also the suicide hotline. Like when I worked at Lifeline, not on the phones, but the CEO would always talk about how, like, you know, it's the hardest thing in the world, but, like, you know, every once in a while a pedophile calls and they feel suicidal about being a pedophile and you have to help them through it. And it's like, look, I guess so, right? That's the service you're advertising.
Yeah.
And if you try to set a rule, it's hard. But, like, you're so proud about that. But, like, that is what the way to run these services is understood to be. It's
yeah,
like,
just
you just
being
need
like,
to
this
take
is an
it.
open call. Like,
Exactly.
Anybody can call about anything.
Exactly.
And someone will be there to listen to them. That is the whole, like, function, right?
Exactly.
Which is why also, you know, you've got the rules about how you aren't allowed to hang up on someone. So when guys call up and, like, just be, like, jacking it, you just got to stay on the line and be like, can I just, like, do you need help with anything? Like, actually, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She tried to get an exception where it's like, she's allowed to hang up if the caller mentions Israel or Jews. And they were like, no.
That's fucked. Could
Right?
you imagine?
But then she complains that the office made accommodations for another volunteer, but not for her.
Okay.
This other volunteer is in a wheelchair. And she's like, they made the office more accommodating for her, but they won't let me hang up on the suicidal people.
Girl.
It's
Are you
anti-Semitic.
so fucking for real?
Oh my god.
Bruh.
On the topic of babies as well.
Holy shit.
ABJ says that her children actually haven't experienced anti-Semitism,
Well, that's good.
which apparently runs counter to the experience of every other Jewish kid in Australia.
Damn.
We're going to do a smooth little transition into the school of it all, training the next generation of anxious, hateful adults, with a look at what a witness known as AAQ said. AAQ, a teacher in Tasmania, said that anti-Semitism exploded after October 7, although she'd seen it developing over the last decade. Apparently, she hears anti-Semitic language on a daily basis, and then is gaslit by students who tell her that they don't know what it means. But then she says, funnily enough, they don't know what it means. Which means you're not being gaslit, right? Like, that's not what...
They just are just... Okay.
They're just doing kid shit, is what you're telling me?
They saw some shit online or they said some shit and they don't know the meaning of it, like how kids do.
Yeah. And, like, even if you, like, know the meaning of it, it's like, oh, you do a Hail Hitler, it's for Hitler. It's like, you don't know. You don't know. You're 11 or 14.
Exactly. And you are so far removed, like... Kids be making joke about, like, 9/11 and shit, you know? They're so far removed from it that other people, like, who might even only be a decade older are just kind of like, whoa, I don't think you can do that. And the kid's just like, I don't care.
But also
it's like, you don't know that. You have no cultural connection to this event. Like, in living memory.
No.
Like, that's the thing, right? Like, living memory is such a powerful tool, but it erodes after, like, you know,
and also
a certain amount of time.
As a kid, you're just seeing the actions that people do when thinking about the event or what it means, right? You're not like, that's what school is for. There's no way to know which big tragedies you're allowed to laugh at.
Yeah.
Because there's some that you are allowed to laugh at, as you, like, if you can see culturally. And also, like, every Muslim kid gets called a terrorist.
Yes.
In school.
Yes.
Often by their friends.
Yes.
This is Australia. I don't know where you think you live. And so let's move on to the school stuff. A few of the submissions are from, like, teenagers. There's one from a 13-year-old Jewish Australian girl who talks about how they do a minute of silence every year for Holocaust Remembrance Day and IDF Remembrance Day. And during that minute, the school plays sirens from October 7 on the speakers. They just have to stand there quietly listening to sirens from, like, the attack. Every year, twice. There's also this girl, AAG, whose friends kick her out of their schoolies trip.
Holy shit.
She's like, they said they don't stand with genocide.
Damn, girl. It sucks that you lost your friends, but maybe this is like a learning experience.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be something that she can go one way or the other way.
Yeah.
These submissions suck to read, though, because they're from kids, right?
Yeah.
They're from teenagers who don't, like, they're still just trying to be good kids for their parents, I think, is a big part of it.
Of course.
There's also this parent who talks about how their kid has, like, serious anxiety or whatever, right? They went to Israel in 2024, and when they came back, the kid starts getting bullied for, like, Jewish stuff, is what we hear. And so he drops out of school. It's like, oh, okay, so now he's being homeschooled. This is great. So now we've got that's a domestic terrorist in the future.
Yes.
One witness, previously of the Great Australian Bake Off, talks about how her kids see swastikas at school all the time. A different kid said that most cubicles in her school have swastikas in them, and no one's cleaning them up. And it's like, what, no one's cleaning them up? What school do you go to?
Yeah.
No one's cleaning up the toilets? Do you guys have a janitor? Also, graffiti on bathroom toilets.
Come on.
What
now.
are we talking about in a school? It's the same thing as the hell. There's like an 11-year-old doing that.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, everyone gets so mad when I do
Exactly.
this.
It's just like, I love reactions, and I'm going to get a reaction.
This is the most evil thing you can do.
Yeah.
Jewish schools in Australia have a great deal of security at them. Armed guards and such, fences. The principal of Bialik College, which is a Zionist school for their website, says that it is a tax on Jews to pay for the big fences and the men with guns. A few people actually complain about how much the security costs and how scary it is for the kids.
Look, listen. If the Islamic schools in this country aren't doing the same thing, I think you're probably fine.
You're probably fine.
I think you don't have to fucking do it. I think it's crazier that you do.
Yeah.
You are frightening people who don't need to be frightened.
Yeah.
And you're also, like, I feel like putting out a bad, like, reputation for your school as well. If there's just, like, dudes with guns there.
Dudes with guns. No one
people are
going to
be like, cool, we're not going to interact with anyone from the Jewish school because they've got dudes with guns.
Yeah. That's like,
crazy.
I don't want to go anywhere near that. There's all these big fences and stuff.
Yeah.
Jeremy Liebler from ZFA and Mark tells this big tortured story as part of his seeming hours of testimony. He makes a lot of silly claims here, obviously, and one of my favorites is that he says that Jews are always called the worst insults, which is why Israelis are called white settler colonials. It's like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, and also that's probably the worst insult I've ever heard.
That's the worst thing you can call someone.
That does make me sick.
Is a
I've
white
never
settler
heard
colonial.
anything worse than that.
But he has this story, he takes ages to get around to it, where he's walking with his kid and they go past a non-Jewish school. And his kid's like looking around all confused, right? And then Jeremy tells the court this.
He sort of suddenly turned to me and said, "Dad, I don't understand. Why are the fences so low? Where are the guards?" And it's like he had forgotten where he was, and then he said, oh. He caught himself and said, "I forgot. It's not a Jewish school, so they don't need the fences and the guard."
And then he just like runs off. This didn't happen, Jeremy. Shut the fuck up.
And
that
also,
didn't happen.
like, if this is true, if this is something that had happened, aren't you now as a parent maybe reflecting on your child's view of the world?
No.
And being concerned about it?
Well, because he views his child as having the right view of the world.
Which is the view that, well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's crazy to, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I can't fathom, like, that being, like, him being like, yeah, crazy, huh? And not, like...
Why'd you send him to that school, then? You can just go to a public school. There's so many Jews in public schools.
Yeah, and, like, you don't... idea that you can be satisfied that your child is afraid feels crazy to me.
Yep.
Is that not like the antithesis to like all types of parenting, is that you just want your child to be happy and safe, but you're doing it through like fear, I guess, is crazy.
Yeah, he's doing it through fear, and his 13-year-old is an idiot. Like, he needs to send his kid to a different school because the kid's fucking stupid.
I forgot that this child was 13.
He's 13.
I was picturing him as being like 8. God damn it.
Why don't they have the big fences? Oh, it's because nobody hates anyone but the Jews, Dad.
I guess that's why. Anyway.
If this kid did this, it's because he's trying to impress his father because he knows his father's like this.
Yeah, he's just like, God, this is going to get me good with Dad because my grades have not been representing, so I really have to pull this shit up. Let's go.
Jeremy also says he didn't learn this at home.
Oh, yeah, you know what? He probably learnt it at his like school with the guards.
At the school with the guards and the
serious,
guns
bro?
that you sent him to. His son apparently is like, it's like World War II out there, Dad, for the Jews.
Yeah, and he must
have done something really bad.
He was there.
He was in trouble. Like this 13-year-old, he must have been in real trouble to be saying all this stuff to Jeremy. It's like, oh, Dad, it's as bad for us here as it was in Berlin in the 1930s.
It was like,
Dad's just like, you're right, son. Hey, don't worry about how you failed all your classes. You're going through a lot.
You're going through a lot right now, and he's just like, fuck yes.
On some of these stories that sound like lies, or at least they're missing a bunch of information. I think I found 4 witnesses who said that they used to run interfaith programs, and it's, suggested that these are with Muslim schools or whatever. But those interfaith programs were cancelled after October 7 by the other party. Now, one of these was someone from Mount Sinai College, which, as per their website, fosters a love of Israel with their students.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing anything with them. A non-school one was the Jewish Board of Deputies, who run a Zionist youth camp. It's like after October 7, I was like, you know what, actually I don't want to be dealing with this.
No.
Finally, there's this story I just kind of don't believe, like a lot of them. This kid, Blake, works with a Jewish school, and they went to a trip to Canberra. And then they're in the War Memorial, and children from another school see his students and start doing, like, Hail Hitlers at the Jewish kids. Now, you've got to assume, well, they're all wearing kippas or something, right? But no, Blake tells us they weren't in their uniforms or wearing their kippas. And he finally says,
even the slightest resemblance of Jewish features or association is enough these days to warrant such behaviour.
I just don't think that makes sense. I don't think a group of 11 or 12-year-old kids in Canberra would know that a group of students, a bunch of whom are just British, are Jewish. Just inherently. Like, I feel like a lot of things are missing here.
Yes,
I wonder if maybe they were walking around No, maybe they weren't walking around yelling like, we're going to do it again to Iran. We're going to get Iran.
We're going to get them. And Iran.
Yeah.
But I think, depending on the age of the children, like, I can imagine teenagers because here's the thing. I went to a school that got kicked out of the War Memorial.
What did you guys do?
Just for being fuckheads.
Oh, just being fuckheads.
Just for being
loud and running around.
And being fuckheads and, like, causing issues and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, you guys can't come back. So, like, I understand kids being shitheads at the War Memorial. Been there.
Well, you got to do something while you're there.
You know? I can see a situation where, like, again, someone in high school, like, high school kids finding out that, like, somebody from a Jewish school is coming, right? Like, a group of Jewish students are coming to the War Memorial and doing that. But I can imagine that being, like, 7 or 8 shithead kids who, most likely boys, who were basically just, like, didn't want to go on this excursion anyway. And everybody else has got a little paper to fill out, and you're trying to fill out your little fucking paper and do your little assessment or whatever while you're there.
Yeah.
And they find out that there's a bunch of Jewish students, and they go, like, I have the best idea ever.
I have the best idea.
Let's not do our schoolwork. Let's go Heil Hitler some kids.
Yeah, let's go Heil Hitler some kids.
You know, I could absolutely see that
I would expect these boys, if they heard about a Muslim school coming, to be like, terrorists, and, like, cover their faces or something,
exactly.
right?
Like that's the exact same thing. And it's because these kids are being shitheads because they're taught fucked values at home, probably.
Yes,
and also at school. But, like...
Because, that's something I don't disagree with the Royal Commission is, like... There's a
this shit does
massive
happen.
undercurrent of casual racism from white Australians.
But it's across the board.
And it probably affects Jewish Australians less than anyone who's visibly of another race. There's a couple of people who were like, people in left spheres don't see Jewish people as part of the working class, but rather part of the colonizers. It was like, well, if you're white and owning a business, then you're part, like...
Yeah, like, unfortunately, that is... if that's the case, that's the case.
There was this mom who's like, I cry when I drop my kids off at school because the school shouldn't look like this. It's like, just send them to a different school. And that takes us to you can't criticize Israel of it all, right?
Yep.
This was a big part of the Royal Commission. There was a lot of coordination between witnesses. A lot of the phrases that they used were quite similar. And most of them try not to get into the weeds about exactly when criticism of Israel or Zionism is anti-Semitic. This is a well-trained response because you can't draw up an actual boundary here. You have to leave the window open of criticism of the Israeli government's policies isn't necessarily anti-Semitic. That's all that's ever given, right?
Yes.
But a few people perhaps went a little further in that they pretty much said it's impossible to not be anti-Semitic and criticize Israel. Here's 3 more from Sharon, the professional Zioness from earlier.
Whilst in the Middle Ages, Jews were accused of...
Deicide, killing God.
Oh, damn. While in the Middle Ages, Jews were accused of deicide. Today, the state of Israel is accused of genocide.
Why is that, Sharon?
You know?
It's just like, just because Jews were accused of something 1,000 years ago, and Jews are being accused of something now, as it were. Well, that Israel's being accused of something now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not happening. The next one is,
I don't think anti-Zionism is a political position.
so like, okay, you can't have that position politically. And then the last one, which I found the most disgusting.
If we're using Gaza as an example of genocide, what war isn't a genocide?
I don't think that's a stronger point. Like, probably not many of them. It's not that people are like, what Israel's doing in Gaza is bad, but we'd support other wars. People in general don't want there to be wars.
Yes.
Don't see the need for wars. And this one's also quite genocidal.
Is very genocidal explicitly because, like, if you want to be a facts-based person and if you want to look at it numerically, you can look at the casualties on each side of this war, if we are going to call it that, but it is just a genocide. What do you mean? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Well, genocide doesn't have a, like, concrete definition because it can't.
No.
It's...
Here's what's happening.
I think that the fact that it doesn't look exactly like the Holocaust is why it's not being referred to as a genocide. But what happened to Indigenous Australians was a genocide that looked nothing like the Holocaust.
Exactly.
What happened to it? Like, there have been many things that we would call genocide. Because, But, like, that... We'll actually get back to genocide in a bit.
I'm certain we will.
But yeah, when we're talking... And we'll actually get back to the numbers in a bit as well later. But first we need to talk about Tali Blickblau from the Door Foundation.
Blickblau.
She says that criticism against Israel becomes anti-Semitic when it's directed at Jewish Australians. So, I don't know how...
It's okay until they hear about it.
I guess so. Or, like, you can't tell Jewish Australians about it, but, like, what if it's the president of the Zionist Federation?
That's crazy.
They did this research where they showed people the same statement, right, with either Jew or Zionist in it, right? Like, okay, do you agree Jews control the economy? And then, like, different set of people, do you agree Zionists control the economy?
Okay.
And she was like, people won't agree with the Jewish statement, but will agree with the Zionist statement because they're anti-Semitic.
But that doesn't make any sense.
At one point, she says that people, whether knowingly or otherwise, are creating the conflation between Zionism and Jewishness within themselves.
But if I would say yes, if your results were everybody said yes to the same, like, Jews control X as Zionists control X, then you could be like, yes, I think that is one and the same.
Well,
the fact that it's Jews control X, no, I don't think so. Zionists control X, yes, I do think so. That's a clear division.
That's a clear division.
Are you actually insane?
And they're trying to basically say that they're using that as a code for being anti-Jewish. There's a different survey that, like, this guy has the Judeo-phobic and these anti-Zionist substrates of anti-Semitism. And one of his findings was, like, the Greens have the highest amount of anti-Zionist anti-Semitism, but the lowest amount of Judeo-phobic anti-Semitism, because they're hiding it better. Whereas One Nation had the highest amount of Judeo-phobic anti-Semitism, but the lowest amount of anti-Zionist anti-Semitism.
Which is why we're voting for Pauline Hanson.
That's
right? That's crazy.
And it's fine. So, here's a statement that Julie Nathan was asked to explain why she assessed as anti-Semitic. The statement is...
I wholeheartedly support the Palestinian cause. Israel is no better than the Nazis of World War II. I've seen pictures of what they're doing that compare with what they went through.
And she says that's anti-Semitic because Israel has done nothing like what the Nazis did. as well as no country other than Israel being compared to Nazi Germany. The first one of those is an opinion, and I think she's wrong, but it's an opinion. And the second one is just a lie. But that's the great mind behind the Executive Council of Australian Jewry. A math professor says that anti-Semitism is a huge problem on university campuses. And she's like, why isn't there similar criticism of China?
I'm sorry, did we not just look at the charts that had the thing in 2020 where there was like all of those things? Do you not remember all the hate crimes against Chinese students?
No, but you saw there were none after that. But there's no data. There's no data.
That's fucking nuts.
She says she's a proud Israeli and that there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. And she says that this phrase she saw on Facebook was anti-Semitic.
Love killing kids? There's a place for you in today's IDF.
She's like, that's anti-Semitic. She's like, everyone in Israel has to serve in the IDF. So it's fine. We all have to do it. It's like, that's worse.
Yeah. Also, like, again, not anti-Semitic, because it's not like all Jewish people have to serve in the IDF. It's only Israelis.
Yes.
Come on now. You know that they're different.
She says everyone in Israel has to serve in the IDF, not every Jewish person.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And you're saying, like, yeah.
And I'm again
it's
being
not like
that's
every
why it's not.
No, of course.
Exactly.
She also says it's not legitimate critique because it's not based on specific data. And it's like...
How many kids do you need dead to, like...
It's not, hey, you can't trust those numbers, they're from Hamas. She's also moving back to Israel because she doesn't feel safe here. It's like, hey, go on.
Fair enough. Honestly... That might be the best decision, which is crazy.
I think we'll all be happier. Let's briefly talk about that specific data, right? So most of the people doing the questioning are there on behalf of Jewish organizations. There's ECACH people, for instance, ZFA people. But on day 8, I think, there's only one witness, and it's Dave Rich calling in from England. He's like an anti-Semitism professor. The lawyer, Peggy Dwyer, is the one lawyer representing the Jewish Council of Australia, who are the pro-Palestinian Jewish group that was otherwise barred from attending and giving evidence.
Yes, also an insane thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, because it's kind of like a, hey, look, if you knew, you'd know, like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, they were treated as if it was an annoyance that they'd even ask to be heard. But Peggy is there, and she's there on behalf of them. I don't quite understand what that means, because she's working with the commission, but she's asking the questions of the witnesses.
Okay.
And she gives Dave a relatively hard time. Like, it's still very much like legal and polite. But most everybody else is just kind of lobbed up softballs that they knock away unquestioningly. Dave still gets away with a lot. He says that, you know, Marxists are anti-Semitic and Muslim anti-Semitism is the most common anti-Semitism. And also that anti-Semitism always destroys a society and that settler colonialism language about Israel normalizes anti-Semitism. You know, he's basically like, everything anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic. So she asks if somebody could be referring to Israel as a colonizer and it not be anti-Semitic. And he says they might not know that they're being anti-Semitic. So we were talking a bit earlier, right, about the baby killer accusation, right?
Yeah.
That's a big swerve used by Zionists when the amount of children who have been killed by Israel comes up. Because they're like, you're doing blood libel. Blood libel is this old idea that Jewish people eat children. Right? From, like, the Middle Ages, right?
Like, I didn't fucking say you ate them. I said you just killed them. That's
We've
crazy.
been accused of killing children. Jews in history have been accused of killing children. And so this is anti-Semitic. If you remember, just a bit earlier, we read the similar...
Deicide genocide.
Yeah, exactly, right? Jews in history were accused of this. We're being accused of this now. And so it's the same thing that happened to those Jews in history.
That is just such a false equivalency. Like, this is like baby shit arguments. That's so stupid.
You ready to see Dave acting like a baby?
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to be Dave or Peggy or both?
Ooh.
Dave's English, Peggy's Australian.
I'll be Dave.
Okay. It's widely accepted that around 1,200 people were killed in Israel because of the terrible attacks on 7 October. You would accept that?
Yes.
And in February of this year, UNICEF reported that more than 71,000 Palestinians have been killed in the Gaza Strip. Do you accept those figures?
I mean, broadly. I think those figures are more contested, but as a broad ballpark, yes.
As a broad ballpark, do you accept the figures from UNICEF that at least 21,000 of those killed are children?
For the sake of argument, let's say yes. I'm not an expert on the casualty figures from Gaza, but let's take it as read.
You would accept that people might be very angry and upset about the number of children killed in this war?
Yes.
And it's not inherently anti-Semitic for somebody to criticize Israel for their conduct in this war that's resulted in the death of those children?
No, it's not.
And indeed, holding and expressing negative, even strongly negative views of Israel for that conduct is not anti-Semitic, is it necessarily?
No, it's not.
The worst part is that when I read that, I was like, yeah, fucking hell, Peggy, yeah, bad bitch, you made him say it. You made him admit that it's not necessarily anti-Semitic to hold or express negative views of Israel for their conduct in the war that's resulted in the death of 21,000 children, if those numbers are even true.
That's crazy to be like, yeah, fucking got him.
I had to wring him out of it. Like, you can, even reading the transcript, you can feel how annoyed he is by these questions. Like, oh, yeah, 71,000, sure.
Okay.
Like, the Lancet thinks it's like
argument.
300,000, you know?
Yeah.
He's not saying, like, it could be way more.
Yeah.
He has no problem. Anyway, let's, I guess, contrast with Rabbi Daniel Rabin, who perhaps less articulately expresses the same point. The point being that the people accusing Israel of killing all those people are misled or lying. So this is Rabbi Rabin, who I think, yes, also South African.
Oh, God. Another one. These are huge lies. Huge propaganda lies. Like genocide is just this word that's been thrown into everything. No matter what you say, it is, well, you are committing genocide. Of course, there's people with agendas that are pushing a narrative, and we've seen it on the streets for 2 years. You know, the Israelis, genocide, genocide, genocide.
Genocide, genocide, genocide.
You know, damn.
He yada yada-ing.
I'm always fucking hearing this shit.
Always hearing this shit about genocide.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of this shit. He says his congregants feel like the Holocaust is coming to them. Okay, so Debbie Conway. She's really strange. I hadn't heard of her. Have you heard of her?
Debbie Conway?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait,
I don't
hold
think
on.
so.
I'm going to call Burdine. I'm going to get a Burdine on the pod.
Why are you getting my mum?
Just in case she's heard of Debbie Conway. She's apparently really famous in like the 70s.
Debbie Conway?
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. We got Burdine.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Burdine, you're on the pod. Oh, Tony?
Yo.
Oh, hey, Tony, how you going?
Good. What's happened?
You're on the pod. We're just calling with a question. Have you heard of the musician Debbie Conway?
Yes.
Was she good?
Deborah Conway, yes.
What's her hits?
Only the beginning.
Is it good?
Is it that one that goes...
We liked it, but she's blacklisted for me now.
She's blacklisted for you now. Why is she blacklisted for you now?
Because she's a Zionist.
Yes, no, we're actually talking about that right now, but Kieran hadn't heard of Debbie Conway. Kieran has a question. Just hold that to the microphone.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just... Is that song, is that the one that's just like, it's only the beginning?
Yes.
All right, I do know that song now. Okay, because Yanni's like, oh, you don't know this person? And I was like, no, I don't know this person.
To be clear, I don't know this person.
I have the album. The album's really good, and I hate it now.
That's fair enough, as you should.
She was also the singer of Do Re Mi, and one of my top 5 songs of all times, Man Overboard, I can't listen to now.
That is brutal.
Do you know that song?
Man Overboard.
You will know Man Overboard.
Surely I'd know Man Overboard.
Yeah, your pubic hairs around my pillow, your socks and razor blades. What am I supposed to do? Shout Man Overboard.
I'm sure I've heard it.
It's a good song, but...
It's a really great song, but I cannot play it anymore. It's in my top 5 all-time songs.
Damn.
Okay, so
Okay.
You would say that, because like, I've been obviously we're talking about the Royal Commission and Deb Conway and stuff. Would you say that she was legitimately quite prominent in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And I would say, I think Do Re Mi were probably late 80s, early 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s. And like, an average person would be like, yeah, I know Deb Conway.
Yeah, they would, yeah, because particularly of Do Re Mi.
Yeah.
I think Do Re Mi might have been bigger than her own singles, but her own singles were pretty big.
Yeah, right. All right, well, thank you for that. We're recording the pod right now, so this hopefully has all been captured on the audio well.
Feel free to say that your mother-in-law was very saddened that she can no longer play, you know.
Absolutely.
One of her top 5 all-time favourite songs, Man Overboard, anymore.
Absolutely. Well, I was hoping to. We've captured your audio. We'll see how it comes through, but you might hear yourself on the pod this week. But we'll get back to our episode.
It's drininess and everything.
Sound just like me.
I'll
Thanks
hear myself at like 2 a.m. in the morning when I'm falling asleep listening to the podcast.
And get a scare.
Hell yeah. Amazing. All right. Thank you very much.
Lead with your chin, dear. Lead with your chin.
Have a good rest of your day. We're going to record the rest of this, and I'm sure Kieran will call you soon.
Love you.
Not a problem. Bye.
Bye.
So Debbie Conway, she's really strange. I hadn't heard of her, but she's a musician who had a couple of hits in the 90s.
Okay.
Her most recent hits include It depends what you call kids. You see 16, 17-year-olds toting rifles with Hamas.
Oh, no, not this shit.
And Hamas use Palestinians as a human shield for their operations.
Classic.
And in every generation, they rise against us to annihilate us.
Come on.
She describes removing Israel or Zionism from Jewishness as a false narrative, as in, it's impossible to be Jewish and not to be a Zionist. Which sucks for all the Jewish council.
Yeah, they're just like, fuck, well, that's us done, I guess.
Yeah. Many of the witnesses give their own definition of Zionism, and it's always talked about in the emotional terms of connection to the land, which has its own question of legitimacy.
Yes.
But without accepting what that actually means. Like, what are you going to do with that land, though?
Yeah.
She's been cancelled, like we heard.
Yeah, damn.
And she's so tired about it. She complains about how she can't get gigs anymore. Which I guess we just heard, you know.
Yeah. My mom's just like... And my mom is retired now, right? Shout out, Bradine. She goes to a lot of gigs.
She goes to a lot of gigs.
She's going to a lot of gigs. She's seeing the Radiators, like, all the time.
Yeah.
She's going to see all this. She saw Tism recently with my dad. I think they're seeing Tism again. Like, they're going out and seeing a lot of gigs.
She saw Tekashi 6ix9ine.
That's a crazy thing to have said.
And another crazy thing to say, the Zionists are tired.
Yeah, I guess.
Debbie Conway had a lot of this. She's like, I'm so exhausted by this feeling, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Mostly people were talking about how they were feeling like something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because nothing's happened. There weren't many people talking about like consequences they'd faced. But there were a few witnesses who had this exhausting air of knowing better, of being insulted that they have to even put up with this kind of garbage. First, Leah Levy, who specializes in the sale of shopping centers.
Wow.
She left France after the Charlie Hebdo shootings because she didn't feel safe. I guess she was a newspaper cartoonist.
Je suis Charlie.
And now it's the same in Australia. And her life
Hey, what's up with guys being Charlie called, like, shot? Hey, what's up with Charlie shot?
Name
hey,
a
what's
third
up with Charlie getting
also,
shot?
they didn't shoot anyone named Charlie. Like, Charlie Hebdo is the newspaper. But
is that the net? I thought that was...
no, Charlie Hebdo's not a guy.
I thought he was a guy who
It's
died.
the newspaper.
I don't know fucking shit about Dick.
No, well,
I don't know
you're not
anything.
meant to know about French newspapers who are just like racist and get shot for it. It's like, I mean, it's a shame that you got shot.
I thought it
but,
was
like,
just like
there was a guy called Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah. What? there wasn't a guy called Charlie who got shot.
No, Charlie Hebdo is like a satirical newspaper or something.
Who got shot?
Like the writers of the newspaper.
Were any of them called Charlie?
I don't know. All right, folks, we're looking up Charlie Hebdo.
Me, I just fully believe this was someone called Charlie Hebdo, like a Frenchman called Charlie Hebdo who fucking died.
Fuck. There were like 4 deaths.
And I was just like, damn, it's crazy they keep killing Charlies out here.
Charlie Hebdo, Charlie Kirk.
Fucking like, I heard fucking Charlie on the fucking...
Name a third dead Charlie who's been shot. Charlie Chaplin, they shot him.
Did they shoot Charlie?
Yeah, they shot him dead.
Fuck, they've shot Charlie Chaplin. Fuck.
They shot Charlie Chaplin dead in the streets.
They fucking got him. Fuck.
They shot him right in his moustache.
Pew. He did such a little like mime about being anyway.
I saw you looking things up. Were you just confirming that Charlie Hebdo's not a guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I was confirming Charlie Hebdo's not a guy, and now I feel like a fucking moron. But I guess that's just life, isn't it?
Look,
you live and you learn.
Hey, this was serious. It made Leah leave because she's like, I can't draw Muhammad anymore.
That's fucking devastating.
If you remember, that's why they were shot.
Yes.
So here's Leah, right? She's so tired. She's on the bus and she has to hear the radio. And here's what the radio was. Again, she's French.
Okay. It was biased commentary all about Israel targeting women and kids and X thousands of casualties on that side and targeted strikes against hospitals and schools and absolutely no mention of the hostages, no correction on, that missile that hit a hospital was not an Israeli strike, but it was a Hamas misfire.
They're just talking about, there's been X thousand number of casualties. It's like,
that's crazy.
That X is like 71 or 300.
It's crazy to be so cavalier about that.
She's so annoyed. She's so irritated.
They keep saying we keep fucking killing people, but it's not like they were people to begin with.
Right. And
that's the undercurrent of this whole thing, is being like, why are you so mad? They're just Palestinians.
They're just fucking Palestinians. We have to do this. We're Israel. And like the Hamas misfire thing, which, like, for the record, the World Health Organization in 2024 said that every hospital in Gaza is either damaged, destroyed, or out of service due to lack of fuel. She's referring to one particular hospital bombing for which there was a brief news cycle suggesting it was a misfired hospital rocket. I mean, misfired Hamas rocket.
Could you imagine if hospitals
need rockets? Well, that's
Jewish hospitals need rockets.
No, but that's the thing. They're like the IDF, the Israelis basically say like, "Oh, Hamas hide in hospitals." It's like you've bombed everywhere else, and like the people you'd expect agree with that, like the Washington Post and such. Whereas the people you'd expect think it's a big fucking goddamn lie, like independent people, Al Jazeera, people who aren't in America's pocket. Anyway, Leah had her job, right? Poor girl. She works in an office building selling these shopping centers.
Damn.
And you know how sometimes you catch a lift and there's a TV on the screen in the lift? Well, this is ruining her life.
Fuck, that sucks. I have to spend about 30 seconds in the lift to go up to my office. There is a screen playing the ABC, and every single morning during the war, I had to look at the headline of all the accusations against Israel, but always one-sided. They never talked about Israelis' pain, and it's very difficult to avoid. Girl, take the stairs.
Girl, take the stairs. 30 seconds in the lift. I also am astounded to hear ABC described as, like, biased against Israel.
And that's because ABC isn't, like, vehemently pro-Zionist.
All the time.
That's the thing, right? It's like, it's not an unequivocal, absolutely, like...
Yeah. Israel justifiably killed all these hospitals to heal the pain of Jewish people.
Or even just being like, actually nothing has happened and it's all a fabrication.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, right? It's such a black and white situation for a lot of people. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You sound insane.
She does. And she's thinking of fleeing the country with her daughter. And she also thinks that politicians don't have the moral clarity to name the main threat to Jewish lives, which is radical Islam.
Damn.
And it's not just hurting Leah, our poor French woman. Even her friends can't live their lives without being reminded of the genocides.
I mean, just walking around the CBD, it's hard to avoid the Palestinian flag. Or, for example, my friend told me she had recently went to a concert. She had a great time, and at the end, the performer just said, "Thank you and free Palestine." And I think that happens almost every single day. And yes, it's very tiring. Yes.
They're so tired. Every day they hear people saying free Palestine and stop the genocide and 71,000 killed.
And you're like, oh.
I'm so tired.
Blah, blah, blah. What about my feelings?
What about my feelings?
It's such a, it's fascinating to, it's like the ultimate expression of white victimhood.
Yes.
It's just crazy to see it on a statehood level.
She had to submit this.
Yeah.
Like, she had to go out, because she's not from an organization. She had to go out of her way to be like, I'm facing this much anti-Semitism. She goes to the fucking courthouse, and she takes time off work to do this. And it's just like...
Well, now she doesn't have that 30 seconds in the elevator, so
that's good for her. She's like, I see ABC in the elevator as anti-Semitic. They keep telling us about X thousands, like... The cavalier nature of it is exactly right. Like, X thousands. Like, it's a big number.
That's a big fucking number.
It's not 2.
Do you not care? Like, do you actually not give a shit? That's crazy.
Why are you annoyed that you have to think about this?
Well, because it breaks with the kayfabe, right? It means that you have to think, wow, that's a little bit bad, actually. But I can't think that because Israel is always in the right. Israel has to always be in the right. Otherwise, my life is a waste.
Yeah.
Like... You have to then contend with all the fuck shit you've believed up until this point.
Your whole life. And that's what's being built by these kids going to these schools.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to come out with these beliefs, and it's not like their fault. This is, I imagine, the child of somebody who did that to her when she was
exactly.
younger.
Like, that's the whole nature of it.
Like, there is one guy, I forgot to write this down, but he, like, converted to Judaism from Catholicism, but he's gay. And he's like, it's hard to live an authentically Jewish life. And it's like, you're not.
It's like, bro.
You're not authentically Jewish.
I don't know what to fucking tell you, man.
They don't.
Unfortunately. Like, bummer. Yeah.
They don't really like the gays that much.
No.
Like, that's a bit of propaganda.
It's still
but
illegal. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we do like pride and shit. It's illegal to be married there. Like, for gay marriage.
It's illegal to be married in Israel.
It's illegal to be married in Israel. Look, gay marriage is the only marriage I recognize.
Oh, man. I am so excited for all gay Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're so tired. But the rising anti-Semitism is also hurting people's pocketbooks. And not just Deborah Conway, who can't even get the nostalgia gigs anymore.
Fuck.
We heard on day 5 from Aaron Gutman, an ethics and compliance expert who is struggling with, among other things, his anti-Israel pickleball club.
Oh, no.
He stopped catching public transport because he's scared of a neo-Nazi finding him on the train. I don't think this has happened to him.
No.
He says that he's really onto this because he works in a risk environment. So he's like, I'm, always assessing the risk, and public transport's too much of a risk. And so
I would drive to work. They did have an underground car park, which you had to pay for, a significant amount of money, but I understand it's in the city, so it should be fairly expensive. But I just paid that money rather than catch public transport.
Cry more, Aaron.
Which is like, that's so tragic, bro, but you have the option to not do that.
Just catch public transport.
What are you doing? Refugee who's very clearly not white on public transport, just trying to get to her job, probably.
Yep.
Is going to be harassed, and she doesn't have another option.
No, she can't drive to her ethics and compliance job in the middle of the CBD.
Because I'm sure she's also assessed the risk, and the risk is she can be homeless, or she could, get on the bus and not know what happens to her. Just hope that there isn't some fuckhead on there.
And you learn over time that most of the time it's fine.
Yeah.
And
you just have to do it. There are things in life that you just have to do.
Yeah.
And we live in an environment where that is more dangerous for some people than for others. And that is fucked. But Aaron, you have so many options.
Aaron, shut the fuck up. Cry more, my friend. One of the anonymous witnesses, ABH, says that her granddaughter doesn't feel safe around pro-Palestine protests. And she's not Jewish.
What?
Yeah. She's like, I don't feel safe because I support Israel. It's like, but why?
Okay.
How would they know?
Kid, I think you're fine.
I think you're fine. There's this guy, Joshua Mosh, who got kicked out of a band because he was in a big, leaked group chat of Jewish creatives who were, trying to plan some, pro-Zionist stuff or whatever. I don't know.
Not the arts.
Yeah, the arts again,
the
right?
arts?
So his band kick him out, and then he hires Arnold Bloch-Liebler to sue the band.
To sue the band?
Yes, he hires Mark Liebler, of all people. From the Zionist Federation. You can see our episodes on him. Cry more, Joshua. On the topic of the Lieblers, Jeremy says he can't even post a picture of a beautiful sunset on social media without being called a genocide supporter.
Is it because of the genocide?
It's probably because of the genocide.
Ooh.
X thousands. And finally,
Jesus Christ.
an anonymous submission from AAV, a dual national Israeli-Australian who works as a midwife in a hospital. She's concerned about why support for Ukraine and the Voice to Parliament were more encouraged than support for Israel. Colleagues who wear keffirs to work are taking, in her view, a real stab at me. People are passing her in the corridor at work, calling her Zionist scum, and she asked for a Jewish doctor to be present at a surgery she had. She attended an employee assistance program, counseling session after the Bondi shooting, and seems to have reacted poorly to being asked, what would you say to a Gazan mother sitting here? She's like, I said some things that I regret, but it's not relevant, doesn't matter.
I think it's probably pretty relevant.
Yeah, and she's like, they're wearing keffirs because they hate me. It's a stab at me, and I have pictures of the hostages on my wall at work, and people call me a Zionist.
That's fucking crazy.
And, the way she describes her EAP session, which I also, again, it doesn't sound right. EAP, they don't give a shit that much. But she's basically saying that she called the employee assistance program to get counseling after the Bondi attacks, which she wasn't at, but whatever. And they asked her to see things from the perspective of the shooters. I already doubt that happened.
Yeah.
Especially as described. But then, what would you say to a Gazan mother sitting here? I think that's probably part of working through this in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But that's not what she wants to do. She wants someone to tell her.
Be like, you are the victim, you are the victim. You are so strong and brave, and the world has always been against you, but you're a fighter. And, you're always gonna
believe it.
Exactly. It's the kind of toxic feeling you have when you're a depressed teenager, right? And cause absolutely, as a depressed teenager, you love to wallow in your own misery. It's addictive, and you want everybody to know that actually you've been suffering this whole time, but you're still really cool and hot, and it's just nobody ever really paid attention to you that, and actually you're really special, and everyone one day is going to see how special you are, and they're all going to fucking wish they were you.
Imagine
it's that feeling of being a sad piece of shit, but still thinking you're better than everyone else, and not actually thinking you're a sad piece of shit.
No. And it's if that teenager gets to make a presentation where a bunch of people say this person is actually the most hurt but also most beautiful teenager.
Yes.
That's probably enough for today. Unfortunately, I really wasn't trying for this to end up being hey, listen to these annoying people, but that's what I got. What we got from the Jewish community, other than testimony from organization leaders, is a very frightened and petulant community.
Yeah.
Now, we mainly heard from, I think, a certain subset of people.
I think so as well.
And I think that's something, for one thing, we only heard from Zionist Jews.
Yes.
But, also we only heard from the ones that ended up at the Royal Commission. We don't know how that was picked.
Yeah,
don't know
like
how many submissions
how
they
did
got.
all of that work out?
I was meant to look into that, and it was confusing.
I was going to say it would have been a huge undertaking.
I think ECAJ was a big part of getting the submissions together, right? And picking who it goes, right?
Yeah.
They're sending their children to gated schools, protected by armed security, ensuring they feel a separation from the rest of the world because of their religion, and then complain to the government about how much the security costs.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to create this division and then complain that there's division.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Like,
what are you fucking talking about?
A few people were like, it's one thing when they're critiquing the Netanyahu government or whatever. It's like, well, they are the government. They're a very popular government as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the polling results, the Likud party or whatever gets a lot of... They got this fucking Ben Gvir motherfucker in there.
Ben
like,
Gvir.
what are we meant to understand about the country of Israel and its security state? What are we meant to understand based on what we're seeing from their celebrations and what they're saying in public and what they are saying to other Israelis and what the goals of the IDF are. Anyway, so that's the Royal Commission. We'll see what happens from it. The Jews are tired. Man, the Zionists are tired. The Debbie Conway is tired. Leah's tired. I'm tired. I read the whole thing.
You read the whole thing. You've been working on this for a while, going through all of the submissions and like seeing what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
There's this kid who lost his friends on Minecraft. Shit went crazy.
That's fucking devastating, actually.
Yeah, and the kid has to describe to the Royal Commissioner like how Minecraft works enough to explain the story of being like locked in a room in Minecraft or something. The commissioner is like an old woman.
This is the most heartbreaking aspect of the whole thing.
And he's like, I've got no friends left. They locked me in a room in Minecraft. And when I was reading it, right, I'm like, I don't really know Minecraft at all. But
Minecraft, I think, just missed us.
Yeah. Oh, no, we both turned away from it. There's plenty of people are. I said no to Minecraft.
We saw Minecraft and we turned away. I do remember being like, I'm not going to do that.
I was like, I'm not doing that shit. What are you talking about? I'm an adult and I play adult games like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, how dare you. My games have fuck words in them. Thank you very much.
And hey, if you have fuck words in you, good on you. That's going to be, I think.
Message us some of your favorite fuck words.
Yeah, hey, message us some of your favorite fuck words. Let us know what ethnicity should get a Royal Commission next.
Oh, yeah.
I am so excited for the Royal Commission into white
South
Africans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's go to the Royal Commission into Laos and every country should get a Royal Commission, and that country's people can come out and be like, here's what people said to me. Shit.
I actually think that if we're gonna be doing it, that is exactly how it should go.
I was toing and froing in my head, like, would an exercise like this, but not specifically about anti-Semitism, be a useful exercise? And I think no, but I think it would be perhaps more edifying. Like those, like the surveys in the 2000s or whatever, but just to, I suppose, force the polite majority to reckon with the casualness of racism in Australian schools specifically. I even think a racism in schools would be an interesting one. Although that would lead into for some reason all our kids are demons. Yeah. It's like, why is that happening?
How are they learning this?
Where are they learning that? How'd that happen? Weird. Man, what's up with all your kids being demons? That's strange.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Do you guys all fuck demons?
Yeah, it's like, hey, do you talk about like that at home? Or they're like, no. Get home and be like, I fucking told you not to say that shit.
Fucking told you not to do the eye thing outside. We only do that when we're having fried rice at home.
We only do that when Uncle Jerry comes over because he fucking loves it, all right? And we all have a good laugh. Anyway, hey.
Yeah, that's Australia.
You know how it is. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you to Yanni for pulling together this episode. It's been a big one.
It's a big one.
And I feel like I'm really grateful that we had the episode previous where we could look at some of the Royal Commissions before getting into this one. I think that was very, very exciting.
I'm glad you enjoyed that, and I hope you all enjoyed that at home.
Absolutely. You fucking better. But If you want to show us fiscally how much you enjoyed it, you can.
I want to say something. Fiscally is like government money.
That's fine. I'm the government.
You're right. Okay.
You can do so at www.patreon.com/shouldntacome. How about I say it like this? If you want to support us financially...
That'd be correct.
Okay,
yeah.
well, if you want to support us fiscanancially, you can do that on fiscanancially. Or hey, why don't you email me with some words that I can mispronounce or use incorrectly?
Oh, that'd be fun.
shouldntacome@gmail.com.
Everyone send Kieran the names of people from far off locations.
Yeah,
and we'll get him
hey,
to
send
say
me
them.
some other news organizations that are named like a person, and I'll be like, oh, the one that got shot. You know, they shot the Guardian.
Is this a person or the organization? Number
exactly.
1, the Michelin Man.
Oh, fuck! Or you can have a look at our videos at youtube.com/@shouldntacome. In all of these instances, shouldntacome is spelled S. I was about to say a letter that didn't exist. I was about to be like, S who? Sorry.
S who's that girl?
SHOULDNTACOME.
Wow, I was really worried you weren't going to get there.
Fuck this ending so much. I'm so sorry.
No,
everyone.
it's fine. No one. I don't know who was listening to the
Hey,
ending.
love yous.
Love yous. Bye.
Bye.